Massachusetts is known for educational excellence. It was the first state to have a public school system. It has the highest achievement test scores in the country, and it has a controversy that won't die. The MCAS, the Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment System. If students don't pass these tests, they are denied their high school diplomas.
Without a diploma, you ain't nobody.
When I hear the word MCAS, I just get like the chills. When I got to school, I found myself getting very anxious. My heart was really racing fast.
Yeah, there was a lot of anarchy going on in my head.
I was just really obsessed about it.
I just started crying because it got so stressful.
In the United States, 68% of all public high school students and 84% of students of color are required to pass a statewide exam. Tom Birmingham is the co-author of the Massachusetts Education Reform Act of 1993, which included the authorization for the MCAS.
I had as my top priority education reform for largely biographical reasons. I grew up in the city of Chelsea in a rented apartment in a triple-decker. Neither of my parents had gone to college, but they made education the top priority for me and my brother and my sister. I went to the Chelsea Public Schools and went on to get a truly world-class education. And that utterly transformed my life, not just my earning power, but it transformed my life. And that was the type of opportunity I wanted to offer to all of our kids. And back in those days, we witnessed the grossest disparities in our spending on our public schools. So in some communities, we were spending $4,000 per child per year. In other communities, we were spending $10,000 or $12,000 per child per year. And in those circumstances, to pretend that we were affording our kids anything remotely approaching equal educational opportunity was nothing short of fraudulent. We put our money where our mouth was. You know, everybody talks, including George Bush, about having world-class schools. But if you're not going to back that up with resources, it's just empty rhetoric. So we did back it up with resources, and we held to the standards. And I think the combination of adequate resources and high standards have resulted in Massachusetts being almost universally recognized as having the best public schools in the United States of America. And that's something I'm very proud of. One of the most personally difficult decisions that informed my thinking about the Education Reform Act was passing the test a condition of getting a high school diploma. It is both an awesome and an awful thing to deny a kid a high school diploma per operation of state law.
The cut score in MCAS for high school graduation I think has been the most powerful instrument of education reform that has driven student achievement of all the other things that we've done here in Massachusetts. What you have seen over the course of the last 5 to 10 years is that Massachusetts has had the highest growth in its performance on the National Assessment of Educational Progress, or the NAEP test, relative to all the other states in the country. And that's from already being one of the highest performers. So we now are the highest performer kind of across the board, which is unprecedented. And so the graduation requirement has completely changed, I think, the way in which schools, especially urban schools, but I think all schools across the state, the way in which they treat students who are struggling and at the bottom of the class in those two subjects. They are now not forgotten.
The high schools are more or less like, if they see that you're not passing the test, that you're not the person, you're not their priority, you're not anybody that they're paying too much attention to. The people that are really excelling is the one that they paid more attention to. But the people that were struggling, like, you would rarely find anybody who seen potential in somebody. It would just be more like, oh, he got an F. He's not a student that I'm paying attention to. I'm paying attention to the one who got an A. I'm telling that kid who got the A, he could be whatever he wants to be in his life. But they're not paying attention to the one who got the F.
The whole feeling about the MCAS was that it was silly, and why did I have to take it? I mean, I questioned myself so much, and then I started questioning the education system and saying that they just want to fail the urban children in taking the MCAS because a lot of the kids that weren't passing were minorities.
Right now we have a report by the Massachusetts Business Alliance for Education. MBAE issued a report looking at a 5-year period. They did a study of employers' perspectives on the readiness of high school graduates for the workforce. And in the 5 years after the graduation requirement of MCAS was put into place, the MBAE's report showed no improvement in the quality of the students and the quality of the workforce coming out of our public schools, and they showed that employers had no interest in what the MCAS scores actually were. So for all the talk about MCAS somehow creating a better trained workforce, we haven't seen it. The other thing we have is the issue of preparedness for community colleges or for higher education. And our level of students still requiring remediation at the college level is just as high as it was before the MCAS system went into place.
And we looked at very simple timelines. We studied a state's achievement on the NAEP test over time and looked at what happened immediately after they put in a high-stakes test. And there were about 18 states that had exit exams from high school, like the MCAS or the FCAT or something like that. And we looked at whether the timelines changed. And it turned out that there was no evidence that a change in a state's laws to get high-stakes testing in resulted in a change on the NAEP.